Hello everyone and welcome to Slipjoint Sawyer. Today I'm going to be doing a review of a knife from Ryder. Now, it's been a very long time since I did one of these, and it's not because I've sort of fallen out of love with the knives or I don't like them anymore. There just hasn't really been any series I've been that interested in. I've only maybe picked up 2 or 3 in the last 6 to 8 months maybe. And it's not saying, you know, that other people don't like, well, they're making terrible designs. I've just not liked them, so I've not bothered to pick them up. But this is one that I've been waiting for a very long time. I believe myself and John at Thrifty Kniffy saw it sort of up on the SMKW website back in, it might even been before January 24, but that's when I remember sort of talking about it, and it took about a year to be released. And this is one from the Long Rifle series. Now, big shout out to John at Thrifty Kniffy for picking this up on my behalf, as you know, it saved me a bit on the getting it shipped over to Heine and, you know, the Heine tax on top of stuff. So it's nice to be able to get a knife from this series without having too much bother. So he just ordered it for me, I paid him, and yeah, picked it up when I went to Texas. But this style comes in the tin. So the Long Rifle, I believe the first series of this came in the tin as well. You can see we've got Rough Rider with the Y spelling. Got this sort of guy here with this musket on the top, or long rifle as it's got here, in this sort of old English style text. Got a nice design on the background, sort of this rust effect look on the box. You can see it's made in China, nothing on there, nothing that side. And on the back, I'll hold up there for a second, you can pause and read that if you wish, and then the usual cancer and reproductive harm, and there's a Teddy Roosevelt on the side there as well. And then inside, there's nothing on the inside, but you can see how that's nicely embossed. You get the knife wrapped in a little baggie, and it's held inside this foam. Now, I much prefer this to the standard Rough Rider boxes. A little bit smaller, a little bit more compact, and a little bit more classy, really, than just a bit of cardboard. But we're looking at a Sowbelly Stockman today, and if any of you know, I'm a huge fan of the Sowbelly pattern, and this one from Rough Rider was going to be one I'd pick up without a doubt. But it's in this beautiful smooth red bone, and we've got the Long Rifle shield on there, and you can see the detail on that shield. Absolutely fabulous. We've got nickel silver bolsters, slanted and sort of lined on either side, rounded off, no pinching, anything like that. Transitions on the front are perfect. I can't feel any of those pins. All you can feel is the lining here, going over the shield, of course, because it's a different texture, and it's got all that intricate work on it. And then this side as well is flush. On the back, you can see we've got stainless springs and brass liners. There is not a gap in sight on the back of this. This is probably one of the best made Rough Riders I've ever picked up. You can see that there. And you can see that bone is dyed so well. All the way through, very deep colour. Same story on the back. Transitions are perfect. You can just feel the lining going over there. Nothing else really, nothing major. Tangs are all nicely rounded over on the back of these, so you're not going to catch anything. And the Sowbelly Stockman then, takes its name from the belly of a sow or pig, which is this sort of serpentine shape. It makes it, for me, one of the more comfortable designs in the hand, as it sort of naturally lends itself to being in that sort of position. Same blade set as a standard Stockman then, so you get 3 blades on this. But let's take a look at some specs before we go any further. So the Sowbelly Stockman is in the Goldilocks zone. I already know because of the ones I reviewed, but 3 3/4 inches, perfect for everyday carry. You have a main clip point blade. You can see we've got the back-to-back R tang stamp on there with Rough Rider, and then you have that same text etched on the blade, same as on the box. Now, I'm glad it is not just plain text, because there's nothing more annoying when it's just generic text 1 or something along those lines, and they just use like Arial or whatever the basic font is. But you can see we've got match strike nail neck, a little bit swedging at the end. Edge grind on this is actually really well done. It's nice and even, got a nice little sharpening choil and kick. And on the back, pretty even as well. We do seem to have a little bit of rub from the Sheepsfoot blade just on here, but nothing major. And we are looking at model number RR2619. Of course, this is in the 440 razor sharp steel. We have a half stop and great action on this. It's about a 7. Pretty much ideal, really. The Goldilocks sort of pull. Not too difficult, but not easy enough that it's going to close on you. So with the main clip point blade, we are looking at tip to tang of just over 2.5 inches, and then a cutting edge of just shy of 2.5 inches. And that's the longest blade on here, so it's going to be a very UK friendly knife. Secondary blade then is a Sheepsfoot. Again, excellent action on that. Nice little snap on the open, maybe about 6.5 to a 6 pull on these, but for me, I don't mind the smaller blades having a slightly lighter pull. It makes them easier to get out, especially with the nail neck being further back towards the pivot. But again, the back-to-back R tang stamp, matte strike pull, swedging, nice edge there on the blade. You can see that there, a little bit heavy at the tip, and then the middle seems to be quite shallow. And this side is pretty much the reverse, the middle being heavy and the tip being shallow, but it came screaming sharp, so no concerns really about that. Would I like to see the edge a bit better? Yes, but for a sub, I think this was under $20, this knife, so you can't really complain. Brass liners as well, beautiful. And then we have the Spey blade on there as well. Probably one of the more, I mean, it's better than the long Spey blade, put it that way. I'm just not a Spey blade person, but yeah, I could make this into a pen if I wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Back-to-back R, matte strike and swedge, same as all the other blades. Edge grind is excellent on the Spey. Razor sharp. Nice action. A little bit lighter again. I'd say that's definitely about a 6. A little bit lazy on the close, but it does want to snap down right at the end. Just like that. And then what's the action like on these? Yeah, the other two blades are perfect. Let's take a look at some lengths of those. Sheepsfoot blade then, we're sub 2-inch blade, and then nearly 1 3/4 inch cutting length. And then the Spey blade we have should be real about the same. No, a little bit longer, just over a 2-inch with just over between 1.5 and 1 3/4 inch cutting length for that. So it's going to be a very UK friendly knife all around, one that's very budget friendly as well. Now hopefully these will make it to the UK, but you can special order through Heine Haynes and they'll get one for you. You'll probably be paying about £30 all in once it gets here. But it'd be nice to see if some of the other UK companies can get them in, maybe a little bit less than that, but it's a superb knife and one I would highly recommend to anyone that likes a Sowbelly pattern, or they enjoy the knives in the sort of the budget range. For me, I love Rough Ryder. I really wish they would do some more with their carbon steel as well. Same as the way I feel about Case, to be honest. Love to get some more carbon steel from them. But there we go, guys. That is my review of the Rough Ryder Smooth Red Bone Long Rifle Series Sowbelly Stockman. That model number again is RR2619. I really hope you enjoyed this review. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.